I said it all along, full of praise. A lot of people aren't necessarily always positive about the BHA or the RCA as organisations, but they did a fantastic job facilitating those 2 pilot days. Under the Sports Ground Safety Authority guidelines, we could have had a much bigger crowd. I think we could have had 1,200 people, strictly speaking, and not broken any protocols. We ended up with trying to, I think forgive me if I'm wrong, I think we were looking to get 800 people, and we've ended up, but following negotiations with public health, the crowd of just 500. And they're very prescriptive on the makeup of that crowd. So there was we ended up with no general public tickets on sale. So, I mean, in fairness, the crowd that attended the day were always the kind of people to do the right thing by the racecourse. So our members are very respectful of our objectives. They were always going to be well behaved. There was no one there that was ever going to kind of upset the apple cart. The owners are always pretty well behaved, and the same with the hospitality guests were almost handpicked in some respects. We could have sold out very easily. Internally, with my own team and the smaller, closer team at Warwick, yeah, absolutely it did. We're pretty unfortunate. I've got a really strong, small, self kind of managing team, but we're also supportive of a lot of the madcap ideas I have. There's an awful lot of respect between all of us, and one thing that's common between my team at Warwick, which isn't necessarily the truth that every racecourse, is that we've all got a passion for horse racing, and we absolutely love what we do as a job. It's in all our cases, it's that we are doing our dream jobs.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't swap it for anything else, and I think without trying to say, the experience that we shared preparing for that race meeting will in its bizarre way, mate, it would be something we'll share for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
It was because it was nice in that sense. I think we all knew what our areas of work were. There wasn't any inexperience in the team, and we did it pretty much by ourselves without too much outside influence, and had to take control of the reins, and it was good. So, I mean, yeah, it's been hard work and demoralising sometimes and frustrating. We understand why it needs to happen, and we just keep optimistic that we haven't got that long to go.
Yeah. It's strange, it's a very different experience, and it's there's a big part of the race day missing, so it's disappointing.
If you look at an individual small track, so Catrick's not, say Hexham, ideal. I mean, Robert, they need crowds in there. They need crowds. Yes, there's the media deals that are in place, just same as football with Sky Sports. It's on TV, and it's a desire by, as I say, you and I, people like-minded, to watch it on Sky. Same thing with racing. Pictures not going into betting shops. Okay, that is the right thing to do. Keep betting shops closed. They're not as a supermarket and retail units. But keeping sport on the TV is okay. It generates some cash, but you've no income coming from gate receipts, race cards, food and drink, all that sort of stuff. But if you look at the bookmakers just now, not the Ladbrokes of the Hills, the big retail boys, but the bookmakers that stand in the various rings. I mean, they've had no income for the best part of a year now.
Yeah.
And that's where it's tough. Where it's tough. Yeah, I mean, there's the great photograph that John Drossett took, is me standing in the parade ring, when Caravan of Hope came in, and Caravan of Love came in, and I'm standing on my own, clapping it in, and James walked in, and I went, you might as well clap and double the crowd. It was surreal, but the fantastic thing about it was the number of people that were emailing me saying, Is it going to be on TV? You know, we're going to have a garden party. Can you get us a race card? So we came up with the idea of a digital race card that we passed out to thousands and thousands of people, who then had their own plate party in the northeast. You know, people around the far side, the track, still had under gazebos. It wasn't too bad a day, weather-wise, but they dressed up and had their day.
Yeah.
But it was a very surreal experience, and to stand there with all these fabulous trophies and not be able to handle them or give them to somebody, it was a difficult one. Yes, immensely proud. And then when the council came and said, look, we want you to be the vaccination centre, we can park 12,000 cars if we have to. But there's taxis coming and going all day. So yeah, and it's ramping up pretty quick. They're in 2 or 3 days a week to Snow. I think within the next few days it'll ramp up to 24/7.
Right. Okay.
So we'll have
Great news
on site. All. I mean, I think the plan is to get as most of Newcastle upon Tyne vaccinated probably by the middle of March.